Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? I got a new hat, pretty excited. Um, yeah, it's been forever since doing the Saturday live streams. I actually stopped doing Saturday live streams for a little bit, but then talking to a bunch of people and somebody else, they were like, listen, those soft skills, those how to get a job, how to get hired, talking about your experience, those are some important information for all of you guys who are looking to switch careers and get hired. I've almost been working as a self-taught developer for 4 years, so I probably still don't know everything you want me to give you answers to, but what I do know is what my experience been like and kind of what the journey process for me was. And I'm not saying that it's the same journey that you guys are going to be on, because everybody has to walk their own path, but at the same time I feel like there are certain things that if you do them and you kind of have a strategy that you follow, you're going to get your goal. So we see Adrian here saying this is going to be good. I hope so. I hope it's going to be good. I hope you guys are all doing wonderful and saying hello. Q here, man, I love Q. Q, I haven't seen you in like forever. Great to see you. Yeah, I've been kind of off, like working a lot. My fiance was here, so I was spending time with the family and just haven't been doing a lot of this YouTube stuff outside of like doing my live streams with John Smilga, but I am coming back to my Saturday streaming and the project streaming, and I'll tell you more about that in a little bit, and why it's important to keep building your own projects. And hey, love this title to this video. Thank you. We're going to talk about that stuff. We're going to talk about a roadmap for 2022, or maybe insert any year, to become a developer. And again, this is not going to be starting from like, let me tell you everything you guys should learn, but it's going to be from the standpoint of how I did it. I have a job, and how some people that I know followed similar idea, and they all, not all of them, some of them, because not everybody's getting hired, but people that are putting in the work are getting hired. So I was in touch with these two girls, you know, that just, one got a job 6 months ago, one Anna got a job a couple of months ago, and so they've been doing really good. I need to get some boys that get jobs so I could use that in my story as well. But the point is that some people are following a certain strategy and they're getting hired, and it's not a silver bullet. There's not that one approach that works for everybody. You know, it's just a combination of things that you should do. But I'm going to talk about like the most like simplest forms, the bare minimum, and this idea of having a path and a roadmap that you have created yourself for yourself to kind of know the path you're following on. Because if you don't have an idea, if you don't have a map, if you don't have a direction, it's kind of hard to know where you're going, regardless of what you're doing in life. And you got Luke here. Hey Luke, what's up? Hey, good to see you, Luke. It's like I said, hey, what's up, Luke? And then I assume that's what Luke's going to say to me. Good to see you, Paul. A lot of assumptions on my channels here today. But Luke, you're working on a C# project. Let's, you should share some of your repo code in our community. I want to take a look at it. I'm actually, part of me, even though I'm a JavaScript guy, 100% JavaScript, React, Node, all the way, I do use C# for fun when I work on some Unity stuff for fun, but I don't have time for that now. But I love C# as a language, and even though that's not what I do at work, I do want to build the bug tracker, something that this Code of Foundry channel recommends, using C# and ASP.NET. I just want to get that project done. I don't want to do the full stack from the standpoint of the way they're doing it, where they're also generating the views and serving them up. I want to make it decoupled, but I'd love to see the code you're writing, and it's gonna be a good foundation for me when I decide to do that as well. So Luke, that'll be awesome if you could share it. But I do want to make a C# backend to power a React frontend. I think that'll be awesome. And the reason like that, it's actually a good point here. And Northern Chimp, hello buddy, how's it going? Here's the trick, guys. It's not a trick. If you like Luke, he really likes C#. He has many reasons why he likes it. Here's the thing. You could get a job learning C#. Okay, if someone loves Python, I love Python. Python is the greatest, right? I don't particularly love Python. I think Python is a good language, but somebody out there is like, Python is the most amazing language ever. And you know what? You could get a job with Python. You could get a job with PHP. You can get a job with JavaScript and Node. And the trick is to choose one path, whatever that path is for you, and go do it. Don't try to learn everything. And this is one key point that I'm going to make on this stream today. Talked about the roadmap, the secret road. It's not a secret, but the roadmap. And you will see one theme is that I picked the tech that I want to get good at, and I stuck with that tech until I got the job. And Brian, what's up? Good to see you. I'm still in Connecticut. I'll be in Connecticut for a long time, so you'll definitely have to grab that lunch. I'm not ghosting you or dodging you. I've just been super busy. I am also in the midst of applying for another job, so that's exciting. And also want to talk about my experience, the few interviews I've done, and kind of like what they were like, and kind of what type of interviews I do better at than other ones, and some of the strategies that I've been employing to help me. And again, this is not coming from the standpoint that I'm some sort of guru or master. Like, I'm not at all, but it's coming from some dude who basically in his late 30s decided to switch careers. And I got my first job at 39, and I'm 41 now, so I've been working almost like 3 years. Pretty exciting stuff. And so this is not me just trying to make contact for the sake of YouTube. It's just me sharing my experience with you guys of what worked for me, and then talking to other people. We just recently hired a junior developer on our team. He's actually a really smart guy, and talked to him, his experience, what his path was, and how he ended up. So I think it's really important for you guys to know that there's so many different paths that people could go on to get to the goal that they want, and the path that's right for you is the path that you're on and that you're able to stick with, that makes sense for you. And that's what we're going to talk about. So number one, when you're looking to get hired, you have to understand that there is a part of self-promoting and self-marketing yourself. Yeah, how dare you be busy? Give me the secret so I could work at Google. Dude, I can't even get a job at Google. But hey, yeah, that's the point. You gotta put I don't know what the expression is, the stone to the grind wheel and go for it. Like, you gotta hustle, you gotta work, and you gotta have a plan. And this is kind of the things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about in high overview, and then we could jump in and talk about like the details. And if you're serious about getting started, and all of these things that I'm going to show you, by the way, like, you don't need to know like how to code to get started. So I don't want someone to be like, it's an excuse, I'm not going to do these things Paul says because I am I don't know any code yet. I'm still learning. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. I will show you. It's going to be not super visual presentation, but it will be a presentation. And so number one, you have to decide what kind of job you want to get, what kind of web development you want to do, or programming. I said web development because in my opinion, starting with front-end web development is the easiest way to break into the field and get your first job. So the point that I was mentioning before is that part of this journey of you getting a job, by the way, let me know if my audio is fine, not too loud, not too crazy, but part of the journey is to for you guys to, I'm like looking on the screen here because I'm like, what is my computer doing? But part of the journey is for you guys to know what you want to do and where you want to work. And so if you don't put some thought into it and just start, I just generally want to do something in coding, that's like a big wide net that you're casting, and it's kind of hard to get to where you want to go. So the idea here is for you to narrow your path and to figure out. And so for me, what I decided to do is to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and now, I didn't go full stack right away, but now I am going to full stack with NodeJS. And the reason why I decided to go with NodeJS because I have a job with NodeJS, and also because I already know JavaScript, doing Node makes sense. But once you get this far, You could pick Python, you could pick C#, it doesn't matter. I just decided to go with JavaScript because I don't want to learn another language at the point, even though I already said that I like C# because it's the greatest. But I don't do it at work. And so picking a path, and when you know what you want, and I'm just gonna assume you're looking to get into web development, and listen, if anybody's got Twitter, share this live stream on Twitter so we can get more people out there. I try to share also on Twitter right now, and I don't know how to use Twitter apparently. Twitter is like really weird for me sometimes. But yeah, anyway, so you get more friends joining us. But once you know what you want to do, and we're going to start from this idea that you want to get into web development through front-end web development. And the most important things you need to know is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, a framework, which I would say React. You need to be comfortable with Git. You have to know some basic terminal basics, like how to navigate in your terminal. Very basic stuff. Like I suck at the terminal, but like super basic. You just have to know what it is and how to work with NPM. And you need to know GitHub in like the big picture view. And if you're familiar with those things, like you have enough to start to developing a presence through building your portfolio to get the job that you want. And again, I'm giving like a big picture, and we will talk about kind of in details. And if you guys have questions, for sure, ask me in the chat, because I do want to have this be a two-way conversation where we could all have a discussion about what our main goals are and what we're looking to do. And so I am just oh my goodness. Oh, I could just retweet my own tweet. This is exciting. Anyway, so picking a path, we decided web development all the way. So outside of knowing web development, and I'm going to talk about it, these are the 3 must things that you guys have to set up as soon as possible, even though they might be empty. And so I'm going to show you what I have as an example, but I want to tell you guys that you want to set this up as quickly as possible, even though you might not have the information. You want to put it out there that you want to get a job as a web developer, so you have to have a home base where you could refer people. So if someone says to me, Paul, what do you do? I'll say, I'm a web developer. And you could go to my website, paulbertoslavsky.com, check it out. Oh, hey, let's connect on LinkedIn because I have LinkedIn, because I want to grow my connection of developers. Let's hook up. And also, hey, check this out. I'm a real developer. You know how you know I'm a real developer? Because I have GitHub. I have GitHub. So when you're starting out, right away, like the first 2 weeks, the first month, no, like don't wait any longer. You need to have a basic website that you don't build yourself. You get a goddamn template, but you have, I call it your resume / business card. And if you don't have a resume, that's okay. Don't put it in there yet. But it's basically a home for you to refer people and to present yourself as a professional developer, even though you might not be one yet because you're on your journey. So let me screen share here. And I see you guys are very patiently listening because I don't see any comments, which is fine. If you guys get comments, you could ask them in the comment section. And I had plenty of coffee and I'm drinking more, so that's where my excitement comes from. It's been a while since I streamed that I don't even know how to share my screen anymore. But here we go. Here we go. So the bare minimum, the first month of development, you need to set up your base of having a place where you're able to refer people to show that you are a web developer or you're looking to be one. And you need to start building that social media presence, because you have to be able to sell yourself and to acknowledge yourself. So if you go to paulbertoslavsky.com, you see this beautiful theme that I didn't build. I literally bought the template from Bootstrap made, and it was amazing. And look, now I have this professional looking website, and I specifically didn't put a portfolio section because I don't want people to say, well, I don't have a portfolio projects to put in for me to, like, well, if you're missing that information, don't put it yet. If you don't have a resume yet, don't put it in here yet, but set up a home where you could at least write, you know, the tech that you're wanting to learn. And I'm very specific here with my tag that I'm using here, and this was written a while ago, so I added Redux there. But HTML and CSS, you need it. JavaScript 100%, React for sure. Any front-end framework is great, but React is pretty popular, and I would say if you start with React, you're not gonna go wrong. You're not gonna go wrong, but I'm not saying that you have to. And then I talked about Redux, working with APIs, and web API. I put C# because I worked at the previous job, but the idea is setting this up first, right? Having to set this up first, you kind of already putting a seed in your mind. Okay, I need to know HTML and CSS. Like, imagine you didn't take any courses yet. I will talk about what I recommend, but imagine you didn't take any courses. You set up a website, which is a basic information site that you started with a theme, and then you put in, I need to learn HTML, CSS, and kind of like some of the things that I need to do. And this becomes kind of like your roadmap for what you need to do to learn. So now when I'm looking to get courses or self-taught or bootcamp, whatever you do, or Udemy, like, I have a direction that I'm going because I had these technologies that I did. And so I think this is very important for you guys to understand that. And this website, you should not hesitate. You should not wait a month into your learning. You have to set something up like this. Next, you also, and before I go and continue, let me just look at the comments here. And Luke says, I'm putting in a premium bootstrap theme I just bought while listening to you, realizing how terrible I am in front end and terrible back end too. Bro, it's everybody. It's not you. I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing. But the point is, that feeling, it stays with us for a long time, and you just have to go through the process, go through the steps, and literally just don't listen to that voice in the back of the head that says you're terrible, and just keep doing the work and keep moving forward. Don't let it hold you back, because that feeling, I've been working in the field almost 4 years, and I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what, like I'm terrible, and I don't know when that goes away. But you just have to have a plan and do the steps and move forward. And this is a premium template I bought from Bootstrap Made. I think it's called Bootstrap. I can't type. See, like, how do I become a developer? I don't even know how to type. But I recommend this website. You can actually get the templates from here from free, and I'll show you the exactly one that I got. I paid 20 bucks for it because I didn't want this this little things that says made with iPortfolio, designed by Bootstrap. But look at that, looks familiar. Look, it's exactly the theme that I used for my website. And again, this is your resume / business card / I am really serious about becoming a developer. So you need to put this out there so you could send people, like, if someone asks me, like, hey, what do you do? Well, I'm Paul Baslavsky, I'm a web developer. Go to my website, check it out. You know, Web Dev Junk is here. Yo, what's up? Hey, good to see you, man. Always love when you come in on my streams. Web Dev Junkie actually has a really good YouTube channel. Go check him out. He's actually very knowledgeable, very awesome guy, and you will learn a lot by watching the videos that he does. You know, I'm not saying that you're not going to learn anything from my channel. I'm just saying he has really good content. And Q says, epic last name, Pauly. Yeah, Paul Bratzlavsky, pretty epic. I agree with you. And Engine Boy, I think React is more fun, has more functionality other than only design. I see a lot of people only design their websites very good looking, but not using any kind of React features or tools. Yeah, so I mean, it depends what you want and what your goal is for your website. Yeah, but I love React. In terms of getting a job, even now, you cannot go wrong with learning React. You just cannot. Like, the job that I work for, we hired another React developer. Go figure. Hey, Jose, what's up? So we talked about, you know, if you're really ready to get started on this journey, you need to put your intention out there. You need to pick your stack. But in terms of kind of getting out there and putting yourself into the social media world where you're able to start making connection with people, having yourname.com website is a first step. Second, right away, you need to set up LinkedIn. And notice how my LinkedIn reflects the technology that I'm using to work with, right? Very visually impressive. And you won't be able to optimize your LinkedIn right away. I just want to put it out there. It takes time. This does not happen overnight, but you will be able to confirm current position. Yes, confirm. Let's see what it says here. Yes, save. I want to make sure that I keep my LinkedIn up to date. But the point that I'm saying that it doesn't happen overnight, but you need to set up a great LinkedIn profile. It's going to be a step of setting it up and optimizing it. I have my resume here, which at this point, if you're just starting out, you might not have a resume, but it's okay. I have the experience where I worked. This again doesn't happen overnight. You have to build it. We could talk more about it more. Education, I dropped out of a community college. Some of the stuff that I completed on LinkedIn Learn, not that important. The most important part, by the way, here, if you're building a LinkedIn, the skills section, put the things that you're really interested. I got to change. I got to put NodeJS and whatever. Like I don't do C# right now, but you want to get as many people, you know, saying React, you know, JavaScript, and what's that word? What do you do? What is it? What is it called? God damn it. Endorse. Yeah, give you endorsements in the tech that you're trying to get hired, because people will look here. Another thing you want to get is, as time goes by and as you do a good job, people love like hearing how good you do things from other people. And so what I would say is, you know, have a bunch of people, oh my goodness, that you worked with, or, and again, this doesn't happen over time, but getting recommendations, you know, where people say, oh, you know, Paul works really good or whatever, he's not lazy, you know, blah, blah, blah. And because that looks good on your profile. And again, if you don't start with LinkedIn, then you're already losing, because all this takes time. So you need to jump on the LinkedIn bandwagon. Again, first week, get your site up, get LinkedIn. And again, the next 3 of getting started is to get on GitHub, right? And your GitHub should look like you're doing stuff, because people want to see. Let me strategically move my face to block where I didn't do any work because I'm lazy. But you want your GitHub to show you history of the work that you're doing. And here's a very important lesson that I want to share here with you guys, is that I started GitHub like long time ago. Let's see, 2013. Go figure. And I did not take coding seriously. I was being lazy. 2013, 2014, 2015. Look at these wasted years of not doing anything. Like, I opened GitHub 2013, guys. Do you put, how long ago was that? I think I had less gray hairs than I do now. 2018 is when I started to put in the commitment and doing the work that it takes, staying organized and working towards pushing myself forward one foot after the other to make sure that I am on the path to get my first web dev job. 2019, 2020, I kept grinding, and this is where I got my first job. I took a little break from my personal commits because I was worried for not getting fired at my job at the time. And I continued this process 2021, 2022 of, you know, good putting the code, you know, making sure if you're a developer, you know, you got to be on GitHub. You got to be putting your projects here, because this is how I know that you're active. And I'm not saying people are going to check your GitHub or your code, but if you say I lift weights and you don't go to the gym, I'm going to say, what the hell are you doing? And basically this is like, hey, I code, and then I show you my history of coding, like, maybe, you know, like, it's the same thing basically. So you do need to do that. So as a brief review before we even get into like what you should learn, is you need a personal website. You need to set up basic LinkedIn that you will improve over time, and you need to have GitHub, because you need to have GitHub as your bare minimum. If you don't do 1, 2, 3, those 3 things right away as soon as possible, I'm not going to hold it against you, but I think you're really kicking yourself in the butt by not putting that intent of getting out there. So let's look at the comments. So Web Dev Junkie asks, how often do you use the debugger, Paul, when debugging JavaScript? So like, it depends on what kind of bugs. Like, so what I do is I use Google Chrome most of the time, and it just makes it so much easier, especially when working with front end. So I do all my debugging in Chrome. And recently what we've started doing at my this current job, actually, because when we first started building the application, it was just me building it. They really wanted to get the features out there, and they really had a tight deadline. And so it's like push feature out, push feature out. And of course, like when you're doing that, you're doing everything like manually testing it. You're actually clicking on things. If you run into issue, you're going through the debugging process. And again, for a lot of the stuff that I run into issues, I literally put debugger in my code, and then I'll use Google Chrome, or I'll literally put the breakpoints in Google Chrome. It's been really nice. So I rarely debug in VS Code, at least for the front end. But the reason I say this is, as our project got bigger, a lot of people ask, when should you learn testing? When should you learn testing? And it's literally when you're starting to work on a big code base, because nobody, sometimes, like, regardless how you feel about test-driven development or whatever, some companies do it, some companies don't. But what I found out, being my first job, where from start to finish, I started building this project from scratch, and now it's getting to a point where it's starting to be pretty massive, at least for the project that I worked for. You cannot get away not having tests in your projects. You just can't. It's physically impossible to test everything manually. So that's when you start learning about testing. Getting into testing is when you get into a point where you're like, man, my project's pretty big. We got to make sure we have these tests to at least to test whatever we can automatically, to make sure that our application works after we do changes. And so that's kind of been my journey in terms of learning and going through the stuff. But in terms of debugger, I just do it in Chrome. So I don't use a CRM to track my job prospects, but a lot of times, like I'll have it written down on paper. But I think it's a good idea to have a CRM, or what I would say a good portfolio project, if you guys are wondering, is build your own job tracker application, where you're able to add the list of companies that you're looking to apply. You can have a checklist that you send your resume, that you schedule your appointment, and kind of track your progress. And I like that idea of tracking your progress, because at the end of the day, if you tell me, oh, I applied to 100 jobs and I didn't get hired, and I'll say, well, show me proof that you applied to 100 jobs, and you don't have any proof, I'm not going to believe you. You probably didn't apply to 100 jobs. You applied to 10. So having a physical record of the jobs you're applying to is very important to me, is because you could keep track of, all the processes. And when you get rejected, you should use that as a learning opportunity. Be like, hey, why did you decide to go with a different candidate? They don't know you the answer, but maybe they'll tell you. And you could take the steps to improve yourself in that area for your next interview. And by keeping track of everything that you do, you're able to see everything, like your journey in getting to your next job. And at the same time, you have proof that you're actively sending out resumes, you're actively applying, you're actively doing the things that you need to do. So I think that'll be a good idea. So either somebody build it as a project for your portfolio, or I think even if not using CRM, using Excel is great. Web Dev Junkie, I usually also use just console logs, but I'm wondering if I should start using debugging exclusively. And so for me, what I realized, a lot of the issues that I have, because you already know kind of idea where something is failing, and sometimes throwing a debugger or a console log in your code is all you really need. And so in most cases, that's what prevents me from getting deeper, is because usually that console log gives me enough of an info to figure out where is something not working, and so I'm able to figure it out and move on. But I did on few occasions had some times where stuff was like really deep. It was within like many different files, so I would have to set like a breakpoint, like 10 folders here, 3 folders there, because of how the code would call each function and what have you. And so in those cases, using the debugger in the way it was intended to be used makes sense. But again, most of the time, the mistakes that I make at my level are super dumb, and so console log is more than enough to fix. So we talked about generally having your, and don't wait, again, 2, 3, 4 weeks that you're studying, you need to have your portfolio website, you need to have your GitHub set up, and you need to have your LinkedIn set up. So now let's talk about your learning journey. Surprise alert, there's a million online courses, tutorials, whatever, insert name of resource that you could use to learn to code. And a lot of that, guys, is just waste of time, from the standpoint that I bought over 400 courses on Udemy, and I only completed fully out of the 400 classes that I bought on Udemy, maybe 10, 11 courses. And so all those other courses, I literally spent over like $3,000, $4,000 on Udemy. And from seeing all the courses that are out there, buying bajillion courses and knowing that I'll never be able to go through all of them, I don't even have time. Even if I wanted to go through the course, some of the courses I bought, they're so old now that they're outdated. And that's like how, like having number of courses that you could take, it's too many. So what you need to do, you need to narrow down what you need to learn, and you literally need to buy one course for that domain. And I'll talk more about it, kind of the process and the roadmap that I use to help you kind of like learn effectively and how to move forward. But I know there's so many courses that every freaking body wants to sell. That's why I don't sell courses. I will do some basic tutorials online, but I don't want to sell courses because there's already plenty of courses out there. And for me, what I would say, it's not the course that is going to get you hired, but it's your ability to do the work. So if I could add value outside of everybody else selling courses, my value to you is going to be like build a significant project that is based on what you would actually be doing at work. That would be like what I would tell people to do. And that's my goal for my Tuesday stream, is that you're building something that has full CRUD functionality, deals with authentication, and at least maybe you're not building the backend yourself, but at least you understand how to work with a backend and understand how to work with an API and understand how to work with a basic database like Postgres. SQL would be my first recommendation, but I know some people like MongoDB for whatever reason, or Firebase. But Postgres, that's what normally people use, or SQL-based databases at majority of companies for work. And so I'm going to show you what the process, but so many courses, so much stuff out there. So the first thing I would say, you don't need a billion courses. You just need one course. Like when you're taking Math 101 at grade school, the only time you're taking Math 101 the second year is because you got in trouble and you stayed back, right? And so if you look at all the Udemy courses, like all of them, and I have all of them. Tell me the course that I have it. I have all the goddamn courses. I have 2 Udemy accounts, spent over $1 bajillion, but every goddamn course, I do this. Actually, do this for me. Guys, go on Udemy, find 10 JavaScript courses, right? And then open up the chapters for all of them. Like, you know how they show you the preview of what the course covers? Side by side. And scroll down, and you will see that they all teach the goddamn thing. So why do you need 10 different courses to learn the same goddamn thing that those courses are teaching you? And just trust me on this. And so the process is, all you need is one HTML and CSS course, one JavaScript course, one React course, and then we'll get to like number 4 later. But the point is, you need to have a process for learning, which allows you to learn effectively and focus more on building. And this is going to be the next portion of this amazing live stream. If you didn't smash the like button, guys, you gotta smash it up, like smash it, right? That was the worst smash movement ever, but smash it, you know, smash the like button. I want, you know, like just not 2 times, all right? Like if you're gonna smash it, you gotta smash it in odd increments, like 1 time, 3 times, 5 times, 17 times, that's fine. But the point is, let's move on to the next step. So we understand what we need to put that attention. We understand that we need to narrow down knowing what job we want to get. And we're talking specifically front end development. And so I'm going to take you guys to this amazing, before I scared you guys, like, and this, again, this is my roadmap. This is not your roadmap. It's my roadmap. And the point of this lesson, guys, is that I am trying to show you that you need a roadmap, but you're responsible for creating it, and you need to set constraints so you stay on the path to get to where you want to go. I should probably get more hand signals into the conversation. I think that would be really awesome. Yes, so I need to talk with my hands more. Bada bing, bada boom. You know, it's probably racist. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, coming back to our screen share. And so I have this amazing, I've been really enjoying Miro. Is it Miro? Like, Miro makes me think of that. If you guys haven't seen that Thai rapper, she's got that song Mirror. She's like, mirror, 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 mirror on the wall. Like, I don't know, I can't rap to save my life, but it's a great tune, great song. But By the way, I hope you guys like my new hat. Thanks. But here's my roadmap, and it's what I'm telling you guys is you need to kind of plan to organize what you guys are going to do. And I already mentioned like this stuff here briefly, but I kind of said if you're starting out, we talked about LinkedIn, we talked about your website, and then I didn't add GitHub here like an idiot, but you need to have GitHub. I already mentioned that. So let's talk about this. So plan, decide what you want to learn, and create a roadmap based on what you learn. So here's the thing. Notice how there's Python, there's PHP, there's God knows who knows what language. All the crypto, Web 3.0, like no. I literally just decided to study the things that are relevant to me getting the job that I want. So I decided that very specific, I want to be a React developer. Notice I didn't say Angular. Notice I didn't say Python. I didn't say PHP. I said I want to be a React developer. And so with that comes Lucky. It's been forever. Good to see you, my man. Hope you are doing great. And now Jordan, what's up? How you doing? How you doing? Yep, and Engine Boy was referring to the bajillion Udemy courses. I'm assuming here you didn't say it, but I heard it. I keep saying to myself, I gotta stop. Still, I randomly still buy Udemy courses for no reason. So here we go. So I was really specific in. Whoa, look at that. I just okay. Let's take it easy with the mouse. That's not. You got to use the computer as it's intended to be used. So make a choice. So step one, decide on what you want to learn. We kind of already talked about it. We already mentioned it. Decide what you want to learn. And so I decided that I'm going to be a React developer. And by the way, before I made that decision, I was already trying to get a job. I was already trying to learn. And until I decided on one specific thing, a React developer, I was just spinning my wheels, learning Python, PHP, Ruby on Rails, everything under the sun, and not getting anywhere. So you make a decision. Once you made a decision, in terms of the basics, and again, we're gonna talk about this, in terms of the basic, decide what you want to learn. And so I have this first on the list, but it doesn't have to be the first thing you learn. But knowing GitHub and understanding the reason and why GitHub exists is very important, and it will literally save your life at work. So understanding the basics of how to work with GitHub is super important. And next I said, okay, if I need to become a React developer, what do I need to know? Well, I need to know HTML and CSS. That's a given. And then at the time, I was also learned Sass. Once you know CSS, learning Sass is not that difficult. It's just a few additional awesome features. And some people make the argument that you no longer need to learn Sass because CSS has a lot of those features already in it. But that was my decision then, and this is what I stick to and recommend: HTML, CSS, and Sass as a beginning. Once you do that, you need to learn JavaScript. JavaScript is the language of the web. You guys already knew that. I don't have to tell you 1,000 times, but JavaScript, it doesn't matter what you're gonna do. If you're doing web development, you're gonna need JavaScript. So learn JavaScript and then learn React, right? After you learn JavaScript, because I want to become a React developer. And so very important, I need to basically learn the things that will allow me to be a React developer. And then the next thing, very important, is learn how to work with APIs, consuming an API. So this means that you don't have to build one yourself, but you should know what an API is, and you should, from your front end, be able to make few requests. If you could do the full CRUD, that'll be awesome. Create, read, update, delete to an existing API, you're going to be ahead. And then understand that if you're storing data somewhere on the internet, it is stored in a database. And so you need to familiarize yourself with the concept of what a database is, and what types of databases are available, and what is the first database to be familiar with. I'll give you a clue. It's not Firebase. It's not even MongoDB. It's SQL-based relationship databases. But you know, you'll figure. But I'll come back to that more. But in general, decide what you want to become. In my case, React developer. Make a list of the things that you need to learn: GitHub, HTML, CSS, Sass, JavaScript, React, consume API and database, and then get to work. And before we come back here to this roadmap, this excellent roadmap, let me look at some great comments here. So Luke says, I'm applying to jobs even though I'm not ready. Yeah, you'll never, in my personal situation, Luke, here's the thing. I did not feel ready. I just recently applied to a job that I was interviewing for. I think it's going pretty well. I still didn't think I was ready for it either. And so the point is, you will never feel like you're ready. And in my mind, I think it's a good thing, is because you're stepping out of your comfort zone, looking to get into something that might be challenging, which means it not only will be a good place for you to start, but it's also going to be a place for you to improve and continue to grow. So anybody that's looking, don't wait too long. You know, if you do 3 to 6 months, maybe a year of studying already, you could start applying right away. Even if you're not getting jobs, it is a great experience in terms of learning about the interview process, figuring out what your weakness is, learning about what you need to know. So Luke, I applaud you for that, because you should be applying. And sometimes we might get surprised where we're like, oh, I didn't think I was going to get it. And then you get it. It's literally a numbers game, and it is discouraging and encouraging at the same time. But for someone that, you know, you would think with the ladies, I would be killing it, but the point is I'm not. And so it's just like getting a job in web development. You just have to strike out many times before you find the one person that really understands you and sees your potential, right? Anyway, that's as far as I'm going to go with that metaphor of life and getting a job hired. And so we talked about the bare basics of kind of, oh my goodness, I can't use this screen anymore. We talked about like basics of, you know, the 3 things you need to know, not to know, but to have right away. We talked about you need to have LinkedIn, GitHub, and a portfolio website, which is basically a glorified business card that you are a developer. And we talked about number 2, decide what you want to learn. You know, decide what you want to learn and figure out the tech that you need to know to accomplish it. And then next, I'm going to show you my secret super formula, which allowed me to actually make progress in my learning. But before we get there, let me look at the question here. And this formula is so simple that, you know, how can you not do it? It's like really, really good. And I'm going to share it for you for absolutely free. You don't even have to smash the like button for that one. But no, I'll show you a thing that I started doing that's actually allowed me to make more progress than what I did before switching to this strategy of learning. But before we do that, let me take a look at the comment section. So this is a very good question, by the way. Engine Boy says, do you think it's a plus building my portfolio in React or go for WordPress? So very good question. And here's the thing. If you are a brand new developer, think of the stress it will create for you to build your own portfolio website. And the fact is, it might not be good, because it might actually be the first thing you ever build, and it might look terrible. It might not even work all the time. And I know this because that's exactly what happened. And so what I would say, your portfolio site is not your portfolio project. Your portfolio site is a home for your portfolio to live in. And so I would say buy a theme like I did, so your site looks professional, use a professional template, and make it a home where you could put your portfolio projects as you build them. And if you make a bad portfolio project, the good news, you could always remove it from your portfolio site. You're like, oh, I made a better one. And so what I would recommend is going through at the beginning, do not build your own website to host your portfolios. Use a template. And I'll show you another example here. You guys might not know, but I have a website called codingafter30.com. And one day I really want to be a writer and I want to write some articles. It's going to show you a link to click for one-on-ones. I don't have time for one-on-ones right now. I apologize. And I haven't removed the link, but it's still there. And so I'm sorry, but and my internet's super slow. So while this is loading, so here's my blog website built with WordPress. You know what I'm saying? And like, I didn't have to worry about it. I was just able to start getting content out here, sharing on LinkedIn that, you know, was increasing my authority as a developer, because I have a blog where I blog about building stuff. Like this is a great example how to fetch, filter, and render data in JavaScript. But the point is, if I had to build this website myself and worry about the content to put into it, it would be insane. And so what I would say, guys, you're better off starting a WordPress website where you're part of the time sharing little articles of what you're learning yourself, have a portfolio section, which I currently don't have here, to showcase your portfolios. But that's the thing that I would kind of say to you guys, is that don't stress yourself about like little things, but don't stress, but stress yourself about actually learning how to do things and building things for your, like, that will help you get hired. Wow, I haven't been here in forever. I got 948 fire thingies. That's exciting. Wow, I gotta start writing more. Let me come back here before we share the super secret way of learning that's gonna help you all get to where you need to go. But Luke says, tell us the story of how you got your first couple of jobs. Did you apply direct to job listings, call recruiters? Give us the gory details. Luke, I am going to give you the gory details, but some of you guys are not gonna like him because it's the fact of life. And I'm gonna start it with a story. So I used to go clubbing all the time, right? And every time I went clubbing, I'd be like, hey, what's up, baby girl? Like, that's how I used to talk back in the day. You so cute. Let's look at me dance. And she would just walk away, run away. I would not get a date. I would not get a phone number. Maybe like my approach was too strong. I don't know. I think I was just perfect with it. I just don't think it was not meant to be. But here's the thing. Like, I had a friend, and he was friends with like his neighbor, and his neighbor like had a sister. And one day, like, my friend goes to his neighbor. He's like, hey, I have this friend Paul. He's actually a really cool kid, and I see your sister, blah blah, like they should get together and get coffee. So he literally like referred me to this guy's sister, and I ended up dating her. It was a much easier approach. And so the simple facts of life is, whenever you know somebody, that's always the best way to get in the door. And this is why I said to you at the beginning of this live stream, getting your personal website that you could refer and recommend people, like your walking business card, getting on LinkedIn. And I'm not saying getting on LinkedIn for the recruiters. Like, a lot of the people that I have here in my chat are people that I made friends with who are developers who work at companies, to whom I could reach out and be like, hey, do you guys have an opening? One great example of that is actually Web Dev Junkie. I became friends with him on YouTube, and in a passing in our comments, I said to him, hey, are you guys hiring at the job? He actually said, yes, we're hiring, and he connected me with their hiring manager. Did it go through? No, because they were doing a lot of Angular. I did not want to get a job as an Angular developer because, number one, I would not be qualified for that position because I've never built a single project with Angular. But the point is, the reason why I got that interview was because I asked Web Dev Junkie Cody for a recommendation, and he referred me. So the number one process for you to get hired is building these connections on LinkedIn, not just with recruiters, but like friends. You want to build a community. Why do you think I do this channel? I'll be straight up honest with you. If, let's say, like a bunch of people are here, let's say Lucky gets a job at a company and he's doing really good, and because I know Lucky from this YouTube thing, one day I might be looking for a job. He will be the first person I reach out. So the first people you reach out when you're looking for a job is your family, your inner connection, and then their friends. And so the way I got my first real React job, I know it's like a long story, Luke, but it's because I was a friend of a guy whose wife worked at this company called Versus Suite, and she referred me to their boss because she had a really good relationship. He trusted her when she said, I think Paul would be the right fit here. And so out of all the resumes he had on his desk, he put mine on top of the list. Obviously, I had to go to the interview and had to be able to talk about myself, my coding, in a way that he could see that, yes, let's take a chance on this dude, and hired him. And that's what happened. So that's always my first approach, is people's first, is always trying to build those relationships. So this is why, by the way, I don't know if you noticed on Twitter, like sometimes you'll see people share posts like, hey, this is John. He just graduated from this boot camp. boot camp, check out his portfolio, he will be a great fit on anybody's company, please retweet. And they're like throwing stuff out there. I'm not saying that's the best strategy, but I'm saying you see that a lot where people want to get in the door, and they want to get in the door based on someone they know. And most of my positions, so like, this is gonna shock you guys, and this is messed up, but this is where I tell you guys have to work on building your network, building friends, be nice to people, have a community of developers that you're part of. Is that 7 jobs out of 10 that I applied to, they were all based on recommendation from someone. So I never just randomly sent an application somewhere and got hired. It was always by referral. And so a lot of people don't want to hear that, because it's hard. It's hard to build that social connection. It's hard to build a friends of like developers and building that circle, and not pretending, like actually being like, hey, I really enjoy talking about development stuff. But that would be the number 1 way to go. Number 2 way, if you are not able to do that, is, or have a difficulty is, or at the same time as you're building your personal network on LinkedIn, is reaching out for recruiters. Here's the thing with recruiters. There's some good ones, some really bad ones, and somewhere in the middle. And you have to understand, a recruiter, what they want to do is they want to have a quickest way to make money, because recruiters, they make money by recommending people to companies. So a lot of times, if you have an empty LinkedIn, your resume doesn't look up to snuff, you have no portfolios, or you don't even have your first job, a lot of recruiters will ghost you. And I think that's terrible. And there are some good recruiters, but working with recruiters, for me, like if someone says, what's easier, making a friend who's a developer on LinkedIn, you know, having a chat with them, having some beers, going to some meetups, meeting people that way organically, and then building a relationship and then eventually getting hired, or getting a job without any experience with a recruiter, I would say go the friends route. But using recruiters is very important. The thing is, if you have no job, a lot of recruiters, they won't take a chance on you, which will be messed up. But here's the thing. After you have your first job, recruiters, they drool over you like it's like an ice cream that somebody wants to eat like really good during the summer. Yeah, I just came up with that. You like that? Yeah. So because they know you're hireable because you already had a job. And so you're going to have like bajillion recruiters reach out to you, which is crazy. So at some point, using recruiters does become much more easier and nicer. I hope that answer helped Luke with those gory details. So lucky for me, Luke, I used Strappy, and so I just used whatever their implementation is. If I were to work just straight up, build my own backend, I would probably do a custom JWT to kind of understand how to set one up. But then after that, I know some people use like OAuth or some other provider to do the authentication, so it's not a pain. And let's see here. Artur, hi Paul, long time no see. How are you doing? Man, how have you been? I hope you're doing great and things are happening for you. And I've been really good, like outside of being sick with the vid, my fiance coming in, and we've been sick on and off, and then like working has been hard, and now she left, and now I'm back to being depressed again. Anyway, enough about my personal stuff. Love is hard, guys. Love is tough. Just get a cat instead. It'll be easier. But besides that, so we talked about promoting yourself and a hire overview. You need to have your LinkedIn, you need to have your GitHub, you need to have your portfolio site that you use the template for, at least at the beginning. Then we talked about number 2, decide what path you want to go, what kind of developer you want. And I really specifically decided to be a React developer, and I showed you that from that standpoint. We talked about and So yeah, before I get back to continue my conversation. So Engine Boy says, I actually got a message and email from 2-3 recruiters, but they were searching for React Native. Yeah, like, I mean, don't give, like, just keep working. Like, I think of recruiters like extra, like, places for me to find an opportunity. Doesn't mean that it's guaranteed, but it's a good place. So obviously build a relationship. And Arthur has a comment for Luke, but he says, I have put a CV that my last job was web development. I have done a website for some BS jobs, and I set a freelance website which doesn't bring any clients, but I claim it's my workplace. And by the way, this is a good strategy to create your own kind of experience. And I did something like this, exactly what you're doing, Arthur, and I'll show it to you guys so you guys don't call BS on me. But if you see my first ever experience here, junior JavaScript developer for Fluid Logic Design. And Fluid Logic Design is a company that my friend and I kind of put together because I wasn't getting hired by anybody else. And so we did freelancing stuff. Was it profitable? Was it successful? Did it have many clients? No, we did not. But I still use it as my jumping point to build experience. And so the caveat to this is that you can't say you're working at your own company and not do any work. Like, you could work at your own company and you got to be coding and building that experience. But yeah, that's kind of like what I'd say. But coming back here, so we talked about once you have your path, once you understand, like, okay, I want to be a React developer. This is from kind of my experience. So I'm not saying you have to do exactly this map. But what I'm saying is that you have to create your own roadmap, and you have to understand, like, if it's PHP, create the roadmap and what you need to know to be current in PHP. If it's Python and Django, create your own roadmap. But so here's the thing I outlined. This is what I want to do. This is the main stuff that I have to learn. And here's my process. This is the crux of, this is like the master secret formula of how you guys should tackle learning, not to waste time. Because if you're stuck in tutorial hell, this is for sure going to get you out of tutorial hell. And so basically I outline the projects that you need to, so I outline the tech that I have to learn. And with each tech, like we have HTML and CSS here, we have JavaScript, we have React, we have consuming an API, database with Postgres, and NodeJS. So those are going to be my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects that I'm going to have after I finish this amazing learning journey. And what I did here, for each thing, I outlined the tag that I'm going to use. So for HTML project, I decided I'm going to focus on responsive design. I am going to like, I put CSS framework, Bootstrap. But if you don't know CSS, like, just start with just basic HTML and CSS. And basically the first step is learn the tag that you want to do. And what I would say is, you know, you don't need bajillion courses right online. You just go to Udemy and you go HTML and CSS, whatever, and it's gonna show you some top of the line courses. I say, you know what, the best course that I like, 40 hours, project based. It's this HTML CSS tutorial project course. It's over 40 goddamn hours long, however long it is. It's pretty awesome because you build a lot of projects, you build a lot of cool stuff. And so what I'm saying in my argument to you, as I mentioned earlier in this video, is that you don't need many courses. You just need one really, really good course. But more importantly, it's not the course even, it's the process of how you take it. So if you're learning HTML and CSS, buy one course. That's all you need for HTML and CSS. And this is reflected in my mirror presentation. So HTML and CSS, do that one course I showed you. It doesn't have to be that particular course, but I'm just using it as an example. And here's the most important process. Number one, decide what you need to learn: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The secret to here is I wanted to highlight it, god damn it, is to get one resource. One. You don't need 1,000. Jesus Christ, like, how many ways can you flip a cat? One. Like, you don't need to read 1,000 books. Like, how many, like, so learning HTML and CSS, pick one main course, right? And then complete the course fully. What this means is that you go through the full like, I don't even understand why I'm yelling this right now and screaming, but before switching to another course or having a mental breakdown and saying I want to be a Python developer, even though I clearly chose like JavaScript and React, before doing all that, like, complete the full course. Because by completing the full course, this is what you're gonna have. You're gonna have basic understanding of the material. Number two, you're gonna have all the projects that you completed in the course, which you could put in your portfolio, but that's not the strategy I recommend. But you're gonna have at least all those projects you followed the instructor and completed from that class. Once you're done with it, before moving on to the next class, what you do, and this is the most important part, you build all the projects. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm reading my notes slower than I'm thinking my answer. So build all the projects within the course. But here is the most important part. Based on everything you learned from that course, like I took this HTML and CSS course, and Web Dev Junkie, hey Anna, what's up? I love you. Good to see you. I gotta come to New York and do jiu-jitsu with you, but first I have to lose 30 pounds of weight so I don't crush you by accident. Anyway, Anna does jiu-jitsu, which I think is awesome. And Web Dev Junkie, keep yelling at us. Yeah, I don't want to yell at anybody, but and you don't need my yelling. You're way more of an accomplished developer than I am. But yeah, I love the fact that you're listening to me yell. I really appreciate it. But the point is, once you complete one course, build all the projects from the course that's going to give you the understanding that you need to kind of start making sense. And then what you do, and this is the most important part of this learning strategy, you build your own project. You build your own project. You build your own from scratch. And I'm going to show you like a quick example here. Netlify. I'm not going to show you for all the portfolio items that I have, but here's the thing. Like, load my computer, my internet's so slow. What's up, internet? So sites. I want to see if I have something that I built following a tutorial. Previous. Okay, so I built this from Brad Traversy's course, right? My internet's super slow where I live right now. I gotta like pay more money or something to get it. So even though this is based on Brad Traversy's CSS, like modern HTML CSS course, by the way, if you go take his course, this site looks significantly different enough, but I'm still gonna say that I followed his tutorial and built it alongside with him, right? So I built this website. So I'm going to count it as this is something that I'm going to say it's a website that I built following a tutorial. So although I can't put it in my portfolio, I wouldn't really say I built it myself. If you followed the tutorial, you followed the tutorial. You didn't build it yourself. So what I would say, once you complete all the projects in the tutorial, what you really need to do is you need to build your own project, right? And so I'm going to show you a website that you're not going to see in anybody else's portfolio. Where's because nobody else built this except the people that were building it with me. Some of my builds failed. That's obnoxious. It's okay. Sites, but you need to build your own. So this is, I'm not gonna do it for all the projects. I'm just using this as an example for you guys to get the point across of this strategy. Tech Rally's in the house. Sup, bro? Hey, Tech Rally is an awesome dude. I'm sure you guys are all subscribed to his channel. He thinks that I'm ghosting him, but he doesn't want to believe me that I've been busy with work, and it is what it is. But I still love Tech Rally, and you know, I wonder if you could tell me what this hat is from. Tech Rally, tell me where this is from. Tell me where this hat is from, Tech Rally. That's my challenge to you. But you need to build your own project. And so here's a website that I didn't build it based on anybody's tutorial. right after I completed the basic HTML and CSS tutorial, what I did is I built my own website from scratch. And so this project is my own project that I built. So any mistakes that I made, they're my mistakes to own. And so this is why I tell you guys, when you're building and you're learning, you know, yeah, you're in your learning phase. Let's say you want to learn HTML and CSS, get one resource, get that one course, right? Whatever course it may be, and then go through the course, complete all the projects, complete fully, build all the projects in the course, and then put the course away, throw it out the window because you don't need it, and then build your own goddamn project yourself to put in your resume. And this is the magic here. By running into problems, by having difficulties, by not knowing the answer because you don't have an instructor helping you complete the project, you're going to use other resources. You might, like, you're definitely going to use like Google. You're definitely going to use maybe Stack Overflow or any blog related article to the problem that you're having. And then you might actually take a look at another tutorial, which I wouldn't do, but you can, and then build your project. So basically do a course, complete the course completely, put that course away, build your own project. And now what do I have? I have one resume project that I built myself, not based on a tutorial, that I could put in my portfolio. And guess what? You do the same for JavaScript. You get one JavaScript course, right? Get one resource, you complete it fully, go through the whole course. And I'm not going to go back and Udemy show you like all the JavaScript. I just go John Smilga every way because he has good courses. Also, Tech Rally has some courses you could check out on his website, channel, whatever that he has available. I don't know. I think it's techrally.com. I'm not sure if it's his OnlyFans or whatever, but he's got some good courses, by the way. And he has a lot of good content. But once you go through the course, build it completely, build all your projects, put the course away. Build something from goddamn scratch yourself using JavaScript. I'm moving this around. Now, after that's done, you have a second project in your portfolio, which is JavaScript. And guess what? You do the same thing for React. And by the way, I don't like kind of when you're learning something, have an idea of what are the most important topics you should have before you learn. So I'm like, okay, I want to, or what you're going to use for this project: CSS modules, hooks, context API, style components. And this is particular to what I was interested in, not saying you guys have to do it, but here's again, repeat after me. What is the process? Pick one resource, get one course on React, complete it fully, complete the goddamn course fully all the way to the goddamn end, build all the projects in that course, of course, save it all to GitHub, and then put that course away. Build your own project with React. Now what you have in your portfolio HTML, JavaScript, and you have React project. You have 3 projects in your portfolio. Now you could go and apply to jobs. You don't even have to go through all this other stuff. You should, but for the brevity of this video, you know the process, you know the magic formula, but now you're ready to apply. So once you have 3 items, one HTML, one JavaScript, one React project, now you could start focusing on coming back to what I said you should have: your portfolio site, your LinkedIn site, and then you could focus on interview prep. By the way, once you have a portfolio, once you have your LinkedIn, once you have your goddamn GitHub with a bunch of green in it, once you have your portfolio site, then you start focusing on interview prep, because now you're probably getting interviews. You might be failing them, and there's 2 types of interviews, and I'm going to talk about them briefly before finishing this awesome live stream. Some of them are going to have a lot of algo, and some are going to give you homework to take home and do. It's a luck of the draw which one you get. I'm assuming from what I hear, if you go to a FANG company, they're going to make you do a lot of algorithm stuff. I don't apply to FANG companies, so I think I'm safe. But the point is, this is the time. Once you have a portfolio with 3 projects, you have your LinkedIn, you have your resume, you have your portfolio website, this is where you focus on your interview prep. You're getting sharper on those algos. And then, you know, rewriting your resume, making sure it fits. And I could talk about how to do all those things. I have a great live stream that I did a while ago on how to make the most amazing resume you can. But this is the time and the place to learn about interviewing, to learn about doing algorithms, data structures. But here's the thing, and I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys. You probably think I'm like master at everything, but I'm not. And I actually suck at doing a lot of algorithmic questions. I much prefer when I get my interviews, it's some sort of project that they ask you to build, because I do way better on those. And most of the jobs where I did get hired were the ones where they asked me to build something and then do a presentation on it and discuss the tech that I used, why I used it, and the benefits of using it, rather than competing some algorithm. Now, with that being said, by the way, guys, I am a student of programming. And so my goal is to eventually be really good at all the algorithms. I improve my thinking about how to think like a programmer to solve problems. Because at the end of the day, when you have a job, depending, like if you're junior, mid, and getting to senior, closer to senior, at some point, you're going to be the person they go to for a solution. So you're not going to be able to look at like the person next door and be like, hey, how do you do this? So you need to develop those skills of being able to think through a problem and to find a solution. And one of the best websites for beginners that I like, that I recommend, it's Code Wars, because it's going to allow you to think through problems, but it's not as crazy as LeetCode or some of those other websites and places like that. But here's the thing, as you get to a point where you have your portfolio projects, once you have your LinkedIn, your GitHub, your everything set up, and you're now able to get interviews, the final step is focus on interview prep, focus on algos and data structures, and focus on tweaking your resume, and you will get there. And I know we talked about a lot of things, and we talked about a lot of kind of stuff like on a higher level. I'm more than happy to talk about things in more detail, and I will, because I'm gonna continue, like, get back to doing these Saturday streams because I think they're very helpful. But I hope you guys found a lot of value in what I said. And the thing that I want to say to you guys is that you just gotta put one foot after the other. Don't focus on failure from the standpoint like, fuck, like, oh, I failed again, my mom not gonna love me anymore. You just have to think about it as a step on your journey. And every time you fail, sometimes what happens is that you start doubting yourself. You start doubting that you're on the right path. And so what happens, you get scared, you freak out, and you change. You're like, oh man, I gotta learn Python. Oh, I gotta like learn Web 3.0. I gotta screw Web 0.30. I gotta learn Web 4.5. And you start kind of second guessing yourself, being like, man, like there are no jobs, there's no like whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the point is that you need to focus on steps, and you need to focus on strategy that you need to implement and take the steps to get hired. Because everybody who got hired ahead of you, they did it because they followed the steps. They had a feedback loop cycle where basically if something didn't work, they were like, okay, why didn't it work? How can I improve? Let me review it. Let me add it into my toolbox and try again. And they kept going and going and going until they got hired. Some people got hired faster, some people took longer, and that's the way the world works, is that no one owes you anything and you have to do your own work to get there. But sometimes it's very easy to lose our focus and work on a lot of different things because we like think, oh no, I messed up. React is not the way to get hired. Let me switch to something else. Here's the truth. You could get hired with React. You could get hired with C#. You could get hired with Java. You could get hired with, did I say C#? C# for sure you could get hired. I was gonna say C++. Like, why? Unless you want to make AAA games that are broken like EA and charge a bunch of money for them. Yeah, learn C++, but I'm saying pick one thing and the road will get you to getting hired. And that's the thing. And thank you, Web Dev Junkie. I appreciate it. Don't learn Web 3.0. I've been doing it for a past month, and it's a joke. And yeah, and here's the thing. It's like the running joke that I have. It's like everybody's trying to learn the next big thing, and it might eventually be that thing, right? But right now, people need web developers. People have jobs that need people to work. It's like, you know, oh no, I want to become a teleport technician on Star Trek because in the future that's going to be the thing. No, like there's plenty of jobs that are available. There's so much tech out there. Like again, I said Python, C#, you know, React with JavaScript, you know, Java, you know, like you're going to get a job. PHP for sure. There's jobs available. You just have to crack the nut of bust. Oh my God, my mind. You need to basically figure out what is the minimum level required that when people see you, they're gonna be like, yeah, I want to hire that guy. And there's that wall, there's that like ceiling where they're like, you might just be hovering slightly beneath it. And so don't give up, keep going, and you're gonna get to a point where like, yeah, I want to hire that guy. And we'll talk more about it, but it's not just coding, it's this ability of being able to communicate with the team, being responsible, understanding how to work effectively with other people, because learning to code, people could teach you, but if you're, you know, terrible like team player, that's not something you could learn. And so, I mean, you can, but what I'm saying is it has a lot of value. And that's kind of like what I want to say. And let's do some questions, guys. You guys having amazing conversation. Yeah, and this is actually a good, interesting thing. During my last recruiting process, I have a recruiter getting me to do puzzles like an IQ, and a lot of people, they have like, I don't know where, like I didn't read the study, but somebody told me that there's certain puzzles that I forgot what kind of type of learning it is, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like they're like, oh, if he could solve those puzzles, then he could do programming. And I don't even know if that's even the case. I think you do need to think a certain way to be a programmer, but doing like IQ type of questions may be useful. I don't know. For me, it's like, can you do the work that we're hiring you for? So if they're hiring you to build website, test me on how to build website. If you hire me how to train machine learning like AI, let me build you a machine learning. Like basically they should test people for the job that they're getting. And with that being said, I could see why certain jobs do more algorithms than others. Yeah, we cracked the obstacle course on recruitment process. Yeah, but I'm telling you guys, like, if you talk to somebody, here's like another truth. Like you talk to somebody and they're like, I got hired because like I just did this, and maybe it's true, but sometimes you will get hired and you won't know, was it my portfolio? Or was it the way I presented myself in the interview? Or was it that algorithmic question that I answered? Or was it the fact that my friend Bob recommended me to this company? So like what I'm saying to you guys is that there are many ways to get into the door. And what your goal should be as someone who's looking to get hired for your first job is trying to optimize yourself to have as many like endpoints that you could connect with people to get you to where you need to go. And here's like Web Dev Junkie, actually my favorite type of things to do are take-home assignments for interviews. I think they should assign more of those, because I much rather like get the assignment to take home than to do some like algorithm that doesn't really. Okay, let me back up here. I understand why algorithms are done in interviews, and I think there's a value to it, but let's be realistic. With certain jobs, you're gonna work there, you're not even going to see an algorithm at a complexity level that they want you to solve on some of these like interviews for what you do. And for junior role, I think doing take homes is more important. So I applied for this company. They have certain tech that they use. Guess what they told me to do? They said, build a full stack application using these technologies and be able to do a presentation and explain why you chose or why you wrote the code the way you did and why you did things. To me, that makes sense, because, and what I like about the take home is that they know what I'm going to do their job. They have an idea because they're hiring for a certain position. So what's the best thing to do is to assign a task that is very similar to what I would be doing on day-to-day basis at my work. And so that's basically what they had me do. And based on what I did on the take home, they're like, oh, so he understands the tech we're using, he knows what to do, his code looks great, blah, 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 let's have a conversation, let's go from there. So to me, that makes sense. Now, I could understand if you're going to back-end development, or maybe you're going for a mid-level, a senior level. I could see where some of the algorithmic stuff will become more and more important. And, like I'll give you an example. I don't have many algorithms that I had to deal with, but one issue that I came up with is sometimes when you have a large array of items, bajillion, hundred thousands of items, try to map through them or filter through them, wherever, to find one or a particular item it's super slow. Where if you know that you have the keys with the value, you use a hash table or a JavaScript object and you look up that item by the key, which is significantly faster. And so like that, I could see like, okay, you should have kind of had that knowledge to know that when working with large amount of data, you know, having an array might not be the best option. And so, yeah, I could see as you continue to move through, there's going to be opportunities where you need to know what is the most appropriate data structure to use for the solution that you're going to have. But for people getting their first job, I think it should all be take-home stuff of actually building the thing, or at least assign a task that you be doing at work. So if it's creating a front-end view which consumes an API, have them do that. Don't ask them silly questions. But again, I feel there's plenty of companies that have their own way of doing interviews. And so if you're not good at algorithms, from everybody that I talk to, they all hate algorithms and they all put in their time to study them. And I remember seeing a bunch of FANG applicants at Starbucks. They were just drilling through algos, boom, boom, like a military drill, because they know that's a must for them to know for the type of jobs they're applying. And so, you know, I don't really care working for FANG, and I'm much more interested in building stuff. And I see, like, in my mind, if I'm a cook, right? And someone's like, make me a shrimp dish. I don't want to ask a question about like, what is the shrimp mating habits, because knowing that makes me know when the shrimp is ripe for the picking to be cooked. No, I just want to know the type of sauce that I make and put it together and cook it. Makes more sense. Like, you know, hire people for the job that they're doing, you know. And if you're hiring someone where algorithms are important, if you get hired for that job, make sure that's what you're doing every day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but anyway, you guys probably getting confused by what I'm saying, but that is what I'm saying. I don't even know what I'm saying. Guys, by the way, thank you for all of you guys who came on this amazing live stream. I love you guys all. I hope you guys get some value. I kind of stopped doing this Saturday night stream, but I think it's the most fun stream that I do because I'm able to be myself, crazy, yelling everywhere. So I appreciate all of you guys. I hope you guys are moving on your journey. Hey, throw up some questions, guys. If you guys got some questions, let's do it. Let's kind of get into it. Let's get into some questions. Yeah, I don't even know who talks like that, but otherwise, if you guys don't have any questions, make it go good night. But I'll be back every Saturday. I'm gonna do this 9 p.m. Central Eastern time. I'm on the East Coast right now. 9 p.m. Eastern time, U.S. Eastern time, because it's nicer because I could yell and no one is being bothered by it except my two cats. So that's awesome. So I'm going to do and also I've been bunch of stuff going on. So sometimes I end up working late. So 9 p.m. Eastern time is the better time for me now. So I'm still going to continue with this stream where we talk about soft skills and how to get hired, my process of getting hired, everything that is going on and happening. But on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m., I'm going to continue like the whole idea of like build your own project to be able to get hired. And so I thought about it. So people really like that stream. But what happened is that we got so far into the project that new people joining were kind of lost. So I'm still gonna kind of work on a big project and we're gonna change it up a little bit. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna split it into two pieces. The first part is gonna be learning a part of React or learning how to solve a particular problem that we're going to use in our project. So it's going to be like a teaching lesson, which is outside of building the project directly, but it's something that you learn that you could use in your own project or in our project. So the first part is going to be a little learning lesson, and then afterwards it's going to be building our project. So that way, new people coming in, at least they're learning something new. And so if they are lost in the project where they are or what we're doing, it's no big deal because at least they got some value ahead of time. And at least that's what I'm going to do. So we're still going to be building things. And another thing that I'm going to do for the live stream, so whatever we're building, I'm going to make smaller videos which just talk about the thing that we built. So if someone missed the live stream, they could just reference that video and they could kind of go and code along with it. But anyway, if you guys not asking any questions, it's okay. Then I guess I could go watch some raised by Wolves, second season, greatest show ever. But thank you guys all. I really do appreciate you guys. I hope that some of the stuff that I say to you guys is helping. And please understand, a lot of times if you don't see me on YouTube, it's because I'm working a lot, and I apologize for that. But at the end of the day, my goal is to continue to improve as a developer and share that with you, so you could get the best advice that you can in terms of helping you accomplish your goals, rather than being a YouTuber. And so with that being said, guys, if nobody wants to say anything, I'm gonna say good night and goodbye, and I'll see everybody later. Bye. This is my exit. I'm gonna spin on this. Oh, I'm getting dizzy. Oh my God. Spinning chair. Anyway, see you guys later. Thank you so much. Bye bye.